My name is Sam.
And I'm Erica. Welcome to the Crossing the Region River podcast.
Welcome to our final episode, ABCD Made Simple. In our last episode, we're looking at we are not just there to fix problems, but actually as facilitators. And today we are even going to launch deeper into that. And one of the things we're going to talk about is how do you bring ABCD to your community, to your church, to your organization, to your country? And what about even how do we use that in localization and in an African-led way? That's what we are going to be looking at today.
Yeah, it's bittersweet because we have come to the end, but it's also going to be an interesting episode because we'll be giving you a few ideas on how you can go about implementing it. And I'll share my story.
Please share with us. You promised to share with us your story.
Yeah, so I think I ended the story when I was talking about how a community member came to us and asked if we could pay her to support us in sweeping, and how I blamed them, thinking that they were not grateful, for the things that we had done for them. So it was at that time that I was invited to the Abundant Leadership Institute. I was actually about to close down because I felt very overwhelmed. The needs were, I didn't have any funding.
Yeah,
I was just a 23-year-old young graduate who was also just trying to survive themselves. And now I had taken on the pressure of the community. So I felt like, is this worth it? Maybe I should just go find a job and do my own things instead of carrying the weight of the entire community. So I was invited to the Abundant Leadership Institute, where I was introduced to the asset-based community development approach. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this before closing. I want to try this.
We just wanted to give it another chance.
Yeah, another chance. But in the course, we learned that it was our fault that communities responded the way they responded. They told us, if you step into a community and you are doing everything and you are the savior in that community, and they step back, you should not blame them because you are the reason that they have stepped back.
Yes.
If you are sweeping, you are cleaning, you are doing everything, how do you expect the community
to come in and do the same thing you're doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's always the starting point, to look back in your own, what are the steps that have taken, that have led the community to say, look, I'm not going to do anything about it. So when I learned about that, I went back and I will be mixing it with the steps because the story also has the steps. The first thing I did was that I first trained our team. First, I needed all the team of volunteers to get buy-in. It's very important to get buy-in because if I, the leader or a member of the organization, and this is often a struggle for many of the leaders we train, is that they are the only ones who understand the ABCD. No one else knows how to do it. So if you are doing ABCD when another program in your organization is giving free things and another, it becomes counterproductive. And the community will know that you are just withholding. They'll think you're just withholding resources. So as a whole team, if you decide we're going to go the ABCD way, what do we need to change within our organization? What have we been giving for free? Do we need to cut out transport? Can we invite people to come, for free? How can we do it? Can I say I want to give it and another team member goes and gives something for free to the same community that I said I wasn't going to give handouts to?
Yes.
So it's important to first get buy-in from your team to collectively say, this is how we've been doing things. Have you seen these are the effects it's been having? How can we adapt it a better way? So number one is accepting that you are wrong.
That's powerful, Erica.
Yeah.
Noticing that you are wrong and actually admitting it.
Exactly.
And I think that's where many organizations and development workers, we need to come and say, we were wrong.
Yeah.
How can we change the approach?
And taking responsibility. So we went to the community after we accepted as a team and we said we were wrong. We went and invited, because we were working with children. We invited the parents who were sending the notes telling us there's no food, who are asking for health insurance. We invited them to the table to invite them to come up with solutions to those challenges using their own resources. And do you know what their response was? They said no.
We will still want to receive gifts.
We know you have money. You have been doing all these things. In fact, if you don't want to give it to us, Organization B gives free things.
Yeah.
They pay scholarships for children. They do all these things for children. So we are going to go to them. And they said no. And that's also something you might encounter when you're trying to change to the ABCD way. Many times. Sometimes people, not every time you're trying to bring something new, there's change. There's resistance to change every time you're bringing. So when they said no, we said we have two choices. The first choice is to keep going down the wrong road and see how far it's going to take us. The second choice is to turn around or go in a new direction. And we chose to go in a new direction. So we closed the project there and we said, it was great working with you for 3 years. We have poured all our resources into you, but we cannot continue in this way.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Erica, do you want to share with us what happened when the people resisted from your story?
Yes.
Because that would be helpful. Like, we've had stories of people going into the community and they want to practice ABCD, but then people feel like, no, that's not, we want organization ABCD to provide what we need.
Yeah. So like I said, we chose to take a different direction. We could have chosen to keep going down the wrong road, doing the wrong thing, causing more harm. We would have stayed. I know that if we chose to keep going on that road, we would have worked with that community. We would be like the other story I was talking about for 30 years in one community because they rely on us. And we believe that they can't survive without us. So we chose to let go of that community and take a different direction. So leaders who are listening, you should be ready for resistance because it's something that happens. I think even in a story we share later on about another colleague of ours, Florence, who has been implementing the ABCD in Uganda, is that she experienced, there was actually, the community broke into two teams, the ABCD team versus the team that wanted to continue receiving. So resistance is always there when you're bringing change in the community. So what we did is we invited a new group of parents. So I want to emphasize here that it's easier to start in a new community. If you are starting and they don't have any background of what you have been doing.
I see, yeah.
If you have the opportunity as you are scaling to go into new communities, starting with the ABCD is actually the best way. Because then communities are invited to the table and they know that they are supposed to play a big role. So with this new group of parents, before we took in their children, because we were running a literacy program, we took in the parents. We had a theme. We were in education. Remember, this is a theme. You have a theme, you are in health. Who is interested in health? It was the parents. who could not invite everybody because the people who were interested in these children going to school were the parents.
The parents, yeah.
So invited the parents first before presenting the solution to them. So then we trained them in the ABCD.
Did you tell them you're coming for literacy classes? Or
They knew. The parents were aware that we had a literacy program. So they came actually out of respect for the fact that we had been running literacy programs in the community. And they actually do say that they came with the expectation that we were going to give them money. That's what communities, they come with the expectation because they are used in different places getting free things. So they said they are probably inviting us to give us some capital. They always look back and laugh at the fact that they came expecting and then they were told that they're not going to get anything and that they're going to use what they have. And that's one of the first things, is setting your expectations right with them as you are starting the training.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
You clarify your expectations before,
We're a different organization. We're not going to be providing any money, but we're here to learn from you what has been working in this community. Together, we're going to learn those things and you would come together as teams to create solutions that work for you. So we started, the training process begins by acknowledging expectations when you bring them. Then we run through mindset issues, like people have come expecting. For a long time, they've been focusing on what they don't have. The glass, do you remember the half full?
Yes.
That's very important in the ABCD training. It's actually the center of the training. In most communities we've gone to, they'll say, we are filling up the glass.
Nice.
They always remember that. But they also see that glass as a symbol of what they have.
They have,
within them. Say, you have all these things. What are those things?
And then from what they have, then they can think of how to fill up the gaps. That they
how
have.
to fill up the gaps.
Yeah.
We're not focusing on what you don't have. We're focusing on what we have.
What you have.
So then they begin to identify what do they have, the gifts we talked about, the gifts of the individuals, the gifts, the skills, the talents. We say the gifts of
associations, institutions. Yeah.
All those gifts. We go through the asset mapping process. We play games, the weekend game, which helps them to identify the gifts of other people within their community.
Say something about the weekend game.
The Obama game, the famous Obama game. You can and I can.
Yeah.
It's a very powerful game, because what limits people from taking action or feeling incapable is seeing themselves as individuals. I'm able to do one thing because I'm an individual, but what I'm not able to do, my neighbor knows how to do. And we want communities to have the understanding that it's not just about them. It's about your neighbor who knows something. They can be the key you've been waiting for. They can be your capital.
And if the two of us can't do it,
yes,
we know a third
someone else who can
be able
so that's what the game is about.
I see.
What can I do as an individual? Usually it's very limited. And what can we do as a team? Or do we know someone else who can?
That's
what the game does. They have different cards where they have to put what they can do as together. If they're in groups, if one person in that group can do it, they say we can. If they don't know anyone, but they know there's no one in the group who can, but they know someone who can, they put in, we know someone who can. And usually when we play that game, communities get 100%. Wow. Everything they need to know.
They find solutions.
They know it or they know someone who can. Now you wonder and say, this was the same community that said we don't have anything. We don't. So those mindset games that steer them up. We don't go to the community. ABCD is not a motivational talk. I've heard some of the students go back to their communities and say, I told them, you have gifts, you have hands, you have this. Now you start doing it. Until they identify it themselves.
You don't have to come and tell them you have this and that,
So you take them through the process where they identify it themselves.
Yeah.
Through the games, so helping them understand their gifts, what are those gifts of the head and hands, and then they map it out themselves. So they can build a big, remember who is the citizen? The citizen is the community. So you are actually outside, you are an outsider. We call you a client in the community, so you cannot map the assets for them. Even if you could see it, you can be sitting on the asset. You can even be on the river, which is an asset. You are not supposed to tell them that is an asset. They should be able to identify
it by themselves.
That asset. Then after the first 3 sessions focus on identifying assets. It's only in the last session that you discuss what they care about most. This is where they begin to talk about the themes they are passionate about. After, at the end, is when the communities come together in groups. It's a group. ABCD is group-based, by the way. From the second day, you create groups. Remember how the groups are made. Place-based.
Yes.
People who live together.
Together in a community.
So that you're not getting someone from another community who is experiencing something else working together with someone. So in their small groups, they decide what they care about most. Then they form solutions. Remember, we are trying to avoid challenges, problems. This is the end of the world. We say you all care about something. What is that thing you care about most? And what would you like it to become like? What's the desired future for this community? They build those desired futures and solutions to get to that. The steps to get, which become the projects they run. So the projects they run, they have to identify all the resources. Remember, they have already mapped the resources. By the time you say you're going to build what we call an asset-based project, they already feel like they have what it takes.
Of course.
You have addressed the mindset of, we have something, focus on what we have. You have talked about how they are citizens within their communities. You have helped them. There's a step I forgot to mention. They identify someone called a connector in their community who helps to mobilize those resources and put them together. So by the time you are coming to the end, they are not looking at you for solutions.
So say something more about a connector. What does that mean?
So a connector, every community has connectors. These are people who've been leading change in those communities, who care so much about the community that they've been doing it without anybody.
I see.
Somebody dies, they mobilize someone around this. The drainage is blocked. They bring together neighbors. They're usually not leaders, by the way. They're leaders, and only the community members know who they are. So when you go into a training, usually I see many organizations choosing the most talkative person. Oh, this should lead the change. And we make them the leader and we delegate them. Usually those are not the connectors. Connectors are behind the scenes doing the work that nobody wants to do. So first you address the mindset of the community. Secondly, you go through the asset mapping processes we talked about. You also identify a connector who I've just mentioned, who they are, the person who's leading change. They identify, you're not the one who identifies. In their small groups, they identify who that connector is and they're the ones who know them. Then together, they come up with solutions about what they care about most. They lead that change. So that's how you implement it. And we went through that process with the community and you not imagine what happened.
Share with us what happened.
Only one of the teams came up with an educated related. Out of the three, one team came up. The other team was interested in health insurance and the other team wanted to make their husbands happy. And I was there, I'm like, what does this have to do with education? At that time, I was still new to this thing.
Yeah.
And when you go and do a pure ABCD process, you should be willing to know, you should be aware that the community might not care about what you care about.
Exactly. That was going to be my question. ABC, don't you run into a risk of finding out that what you care about is not what the community cares about?
They might not want it as their first action.
Yeah.
But everything they do, they understand it more than, as long as you keep in mind that they are experts.
Yes.
And you are not. You set yourself free. So I still had questions. Of course, I'm human. I was like, okay, what does making husbands happy have to do with education? We are supposed to keep our children in school.
Yeah.
So a few months down the road, they set up a group, they started fundraising together, putting their savings together and funding their husbands' businesses. What I later found out,
women in the community.
What I later found out is that husbands were going out of that community to go and look for jobs, and they would go for months on end.
Without returning.
That would cause the children to drop out of school because when their fathers are not present, children could not stay in school.
Some of them are going out to look for money
to go and support their own families. The young men feel the responsibility. In most dropouts was among the young boys. So they feel the responsibility to take care of their families. So what I ended up realizing is that in the households where the husbands came back, the fathers were present, where they were running a home business, there was now income.
Wow.
Their presence made sure they disciplined young boys. They made sure the boys were back in school and there was income now to pay school fees for their children.
Because the dads were present and they were working.
I was a single woman who was not married. I did not understand the first thing about why that was important in a home.
To them.
And I would never have considered it as an important thing.
Wow.
Those are the underlying values that I would never understand in a needs assessment. They will say they need education, but I would not go as deep as fathers are absent in that community. So 2 years down the road in that community, including the ones who are caring about health insurance, they took on full responsibility of paying school fees for their children. And now, maybe 6 years later, since that project, we have not paid school fees for the children in that community.
Wow.
We literally closed down the children.
What a story.
Yeah.
And the husbands are now back home.
They are there. The women are still running. They have so much money. They are savings. They started by saving 200 Rwandan francs, some groups. 200 Rwandan francs, I'm not sure how I can explain it in how many cents. It's maybe very few. It's less than $1. It's less 20 cents per group.
Yes.
You can just imagine.
Yeah.
That's what they started saving per group. But now...
Per week
they were saving that. But now they are saving close to, each week they are saving close to like $4, $5. And at the end of the year, they have almost, it's about an equivalent of 6 million. I don't know how much that
is. As a group.
They have started
like
businesses.
$6,000.
$6,000 that they have in that community that they save yearly is their own capital. They get from that money, they start businesses. And this was money that came from themselves.
Amazing.
No, we didn't give them. This was the community that was coming and saying we have nothing.
In addition to meeting their own needs,
yes,
they are also saving as a group.
Paying school fees for their children, paying health insurance. doing so many things we would have never done. Even during COVID, they took care of each other.
What an incredible story. Thanks, Erica, for sharing. For now, we are going to play a game that I think will make us understand deeper what ABCD is about. So I'm calling this game ABCD. And you're going to be letting me know whether it's true or false.
Yeah.
ABCD starts with an NGO. It comes with a great idea, shares it with the community, and convinces the community to adopt it.
Very false. It's very false because it's not about pushing a project or an idea on the community. It's about letting the community come up with their own solution.
Communities already have enough assets to take the first steps.
True. ABCD believes that every community member has a gift and a talent, and they have something they care about most. Yeah.
The third statement is with ABCD, you can start a project. Even if the community refuses it, you go ahead and do it for them.
That's not it. When you do it for them, it's force. It's not ABCD. If they refuse, it's not about forcing them. If they refuse, like in my story, you find people who are willing to do it with you.
The fourth question is, you find a community and you have a theme. Let's say you care about health or education. Find a community who already care about that theme.
True. You work with the people who are naturally like the parents in my story. Because sometimes people feel like it needs to go to the whole, everybody should care about education. But you start with the natural place where people care most. Yeah.
ABCD, the other statement is ABCD is the same as instructing people how to start a business.
It's not. It's false. It's false. It's not. Telling people to start a business is bringing your own idea on them.
Wow, Erica, it sounds like ABCD is more disciplined than people think.
Yes, it's not a very hard concept, but it requires you to be committed to be able to make it happen. Yeah. Sam, this was a very interesting game, and I'm sure from just some of the statements you said, maybe I hope our listeners can understand now that ABCD is not about pushing ideas on people, but the solution should come from the people themselves. And we, as outsiders, should support existing local solutions and grow those solutions rather than pushing our own solutions on them. And it's possible to fundraise with ABCD because one of the biggest challenges is, if I'm not saying this is a poor putting out pictures of people who are sick, we haven't gone into that, but we've seen that some people have a picture of communities as people who are dying and all that, but they are not dying, they are alive.
To tap into the emotions
of people, but it's possible to highlight their strengths, to speak of them as people who are succeeding, and to speak of them as partners. People out there who are giving or supporting this community should see this is a great work that God has already started. I want to partner with God and help him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you actually present it as your fundraising, you present it, these are not beggars. We are not begging. We are partners. These are believers. They have something they believe in, and that they can come along and be able to build something for themselves.
They're children of God.
They're children of God. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, Eric, I want us to move into how does ABCD apply into localization, which is the buzzword in the development world.
Yeah.
How would you connect ABCD to localization?
I think every time we hear people talk about localization, of course, it's a buzzword. We talk about letting African organizations lead. And I think in Kurumbuka, we are very passionate about leaders being African organizations. But the ABCD takes it further. It's not just about the organizations, because even if you give power to the organizations and they are not leading communities to take action themselves, we've given power to the local organizations, but we in our country offices are still leading the agenda. Then the country offices are still leading the agenda all the way to household level, telling people what to do.
Yeah.
That is not pure localization because it's still being driven by an outside agenda. So ABCD and localization are very connected because the true localization is when it starts from the grassroots, from the household level, where communities are allowed to drive their agenda. Their agendas are coming from the local communities and we are partnering with them. And for it to work well, we need to believe in the local leaders who are there, the officers, the local officers, believe in the local communities that are already present.
So in other words, ABCD makes localization real.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, and ABCD is the deepest form of localization. It reaches even the household level, the most local level, the community level. The community members themselves are the leaders. So even our local offices should be pushed to localize further. Yeah.
Erica, thanks you so much for sharing. And as you were sharing about localization, it reminded me of a story of your co-facilitator in this ABCD module, Florence Ofono, of how she was able to mobilize her community and create an ABCD center in Kampala. Do you want to share with us a little more?
Yeah, I really like Florence's story because it shows that ABCD can be for many things. You know, in my case, we had used it for education, but today we use it in agriculture, we use it in different things. But for them, they were a school centered in a city. Victorious is a school in Kampala, so that was centered around a slum area. It was a well-to-do school, but surrounded by crime, surrounded by different challenges in the community around them. So usually they would give handouts. They would go raise money from the students and give free things, but there was no sustainable change. The lives of the people never truly changed. So when she came to the program and learned about the ABCD, they went back and they realized they were doing it wrong. They invited the community back and asked them to train them in the ABCD to use what they have. It even caused division, like I had shared in the story earlier. But what ended up happening is when the communities were mobilized to use their own resources, they built different initiatives. Actually, out of that community, they built about 10 different businesses, which were fully funded by the community themselves. The resources, they identified the different gifts they had, and they started those different businesses. Remember what Kurumbuka did, because this is a key thing to show people how we partner with them.
Yes.
So Victoria's played the role to facilitate the training.
Yes.
Then we were invited as partners. What did we do?
We help build a shelter where they can put their businesses.
We are not the ones who funded the businesses.
No.
The businesses were existing. We built a space. Victoria's provided the land. And us, we provided the resources to build those container shops that they could have, which is now called the ABCD Center. But in that story, it's beyond those shops. That community has transformed. It was known as a high crime area. It didn't have a health post. They built a community not health post. They didn't have a police post. They built a community police post. They provided the land. The government only provided the police officers.
They fixed the road. They cleaned up. I was there.
They cleaned up. It won as one of the cleanest. It was the dirtiest streets and became one of the cleanest. So you can use ABCD for many things. In your churches, you can use it to build churches.
Amazing.
For those who are giving to churches to build. For missions, different things, ABCD can be used. So you can become partners with the people that you're serving.
Thank you, Erica, for sharing that very inspiring Florence story. And I was there recently. I witnessed that. And for us as Kurumbuka Leadership Solutions, that's what we care about. It's about identifying leaders already, connectors who already have something they're offering to their community. They're passionate about it and place tools in their hands to go back and transform their communities. And that's wonderful. And Florence, and even your own story is a testament to what Kurumbuka is all about. We are not giving handouts. We are not giving cash to people. We're just coming alongside what leaders in Africa are doing to be able to go back in their communities and transform them as they see fit. And that's why ABCD is one of our core modules that we do here at Kurumbuka.
Thank you, Sam, for this engaging conversation. I know sometimes we can share so many stories, but I hope it was something that was meaningful to you and to our listeners. And I just want them to go back with this thing. ABCD is a way of seeing people. It's a way of life, actually. It's a process. It's not something that happens in one day. So that's what I hope people can take away. And it's a way of building Africa.
Amen. Thank you, Erica. For those of you who have been joining us on this podcast, thank you so much for listening. I would like you to go back to your community with new eyes, with a belief in people that they have the gifts, identify connectors, and just step back and see what they can do. We invite you, subscribe, And we invite you to join us for the next season of Crossing the Raging River.